Okay friends, I hope you're ready. I have 5 examples today to share with you. All of these are extremely easy, doable, mindless patterns that you can create in your bullet journal or sketchbook. And let's get started. I pulled out my markers. These are the twin tone markers by Tombow USA. I have all of the colors that they have. These are 3 sets actually. I'm on the design team, so I receive the products from them, but I like arranging them in rainbow order because it just makes me so happy. So for this spread, I decided to use all of those markers, and I am just drawing circles. I'm actually just coloring in circles. I started with the pink. It's very satisfying to do this. You just draw a circle, color it in, and the circles don't even need to be the same size. They don't need to be absolutely circle also. Some of them are ovalish, and you will see that the color does not bleed through to the back of the page. I would actually recommend that you do this as a pen swatch page if you need to, and always go in rainbow order. This is one of the most satisfying things that I've learned in 2020, is when you want to just sit down and be creative and not think much about design, layout, or how it needs to be. Go in rainbow order and you will never go wrong. I'm literally just scribbling little tiny circles here, but by going in rainbow order, I know that I will create something that will make me smile, that will look cohesive and put together. And you can actually make this an even grid-like structure, like have all your circles fit neatly inside the grid. And I know that if I need everything to fit inside the grid neatly and one of them don't, it'll just bother me. So I purposely try not to do that, and I just make a wonky freehand style that can go a little faster. So I would recommend that you do this like a little bit over time. Maybe draw 2 lines or 2 colors every week or every day, anytime you want. But I tried to do the whole thing in one sitting, and it took me about 30-35 minutes, longer than I thought it would. I mean, you absolutely need no artistic skill to do this. You absolutely need to follow no rules to create this. Just have fun and fill your page with color. So this page turned out so pretty. It turned much more better than I'd expected it. It does take a long time, so if you look at it and think, Smitha, have you gone crazy? I might have for that little bit of time there. So I am using an Archer Olive dot grid journal. The pages are super thick in this, and I've used paint, I've used watercolor, and they rarely bleed through. But you might want to test your dot journal to make sure the marker doesn't bleed through before you embark on this. So moving on to our second example. For this one, I'm using a nice muted blue tone. I have 2 dual brush pen colors. I'm just scribbling that onto a blending palette. So this is called an indirect method. And using a blending pen, I pick up the color and I just start drawing patterns. The dot grid really helps to create a pattern, something that you can repeat easily, and I just drew these little oval-like shapes. I call them petals, or maybe they look like leaves, and I just continue to pick up colors, sometimes the blue, sometimes the green, and I mix them up. This just creates a nice variation in color. It doesn't look like it's made with one color, and that just adds a nice artistic effect to it. I really enjoy doing these kind of pages in my dot grid journal for 2 reasons. One is it adds a pop of color, and whenever I look back on these pages, I just smile. Again, I'm coloring in some areas. Thanks to the dot grid pattern below, there are many repetitive patterns that you can create like this. So choose something either simple, complex, whatever is easy for you or whatever challenges you, and have fun creating this. I love doing patterns like this that are repetitive, because once you get the pattern figured out, you just do it with muscle memory, and it's a lot of fun. So I highly recommend you try something like this. So I went in with my black fine pen and I added outlines and some more doodles on top, and I love the way this turned out. On the right hand side of this page though, I went to write a quote and I kind of messed up the lettering. So I do what I always do when I mess up things. I just paint over it with acrylic paint. And then on top of the paint, I used a white and gold gel pen to add doodles. So for this third example here, I am drawing flowers. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I love to paint flowers. For this example though, I'm using Tombow Jewel brush pens in a couple of colors, and I'm not watercoloring. I'm just doodling flower shapes. I just doodle the flower shape. They're like 4 or 5 petals, and then I add leaves. You need to add a pop of green to each of your compositions because the green just makes the flower that much more believable. I like this combination of pink and yellow. That is one of my favorite color combinations, and I'm just using the marker directly on paper here, and I've left a little space in the middle for me to write a quote in. I like to fill the entire page with color like you see here. So I go in between all of the flowers that I've drawn. I add small buds, I add small petals, I add smaller leaves, and then I add small dots. And I love the way the whole thing looks like a flower garden in my book. For my fourth example here, I am going to be showing another rainbow, and this time I'm actually using watercolor in the same journal. This is a dot grid journal again by Archer and Olive, but you cannot actually add the Tombow Jewel brush pens onto the paper and paint with water. The paper just absorbs the color immediately. So what I do is I keep a blending palette on the side, and onto the blending palette I just apply my color, and with my wet paintbrush I just pick up the color, and then I'm drawing circles this time. Again, no real drama, no big reason. I'm just drawing circles over and over again. And for the other side of the page, I just added straight lines to add a little bit of contrast. This is a very simple pattern, very soothing to create. And the colors kind of soften. There's a little pastel look to it. And I love the way this page turned out. For my fifth and final example, I'm using the indirect method to watercolor flowers onto the page again. This is the same technique that I did for the flower doodles earlier, but this time I'm watercoloring this. Again, I add the color to a blending palette, I pick up the color with a wet paintbrush, and then I doodle flower shapes, leaf shapes, some vines, some buds. And since I'm doing a repetitive pattern here, I like to use 2 to 3 colors, apply it onto the blending palette, mix them as I go to create this variation. I just pick up once towards the green, once towards the blue, and it adds a lot of interest to your finished composition. It's just really cute, and I have fun creating it. Looking back at it always makes me smile, like I say. And I fill the entire page, and I don't leave any space in between. I cramp it all into one page. There you have it, friends, a couple of ideas to fill your bullet journal pages with color. I hope you enjoyed this, and leave me a comment below letting me know which one of these was your favorite. Coming up next is also my bullet journal setup for the first 3 months. I'll be setting up January, February, and March together. I'm working on the video. It's going to be a long one, so just stay tuned for it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss out. For more ideas, stop by my blog smilingcolors.com, where I have tons of tutorials and more videos. I'll see you again with another video. Till then, happy crafting!